Today we're going to make our Christmas ornaments in CorelDRAW to be cut on the CNC Plasma Cutter. You should at this point already have Citrix Portal installed on your Chromebook. If you don't, see my other video about installing Citrix Portal on your Chromebook. Go ahead and open up Citrix Portal. Once you open it up, if it prompts you to log in, use your ehovie username and password, which is just the first part of your ehovie student email. Once you're logged in, go ahead and click on CorelDRAW X5 to open up the software. CorelDRAW may prompt you with a registration window before getting to this. If it does, just click Close. In your Quick Start menu now, we're going to create a new blank document. The very first thing you need to do every time you create a new blank document is add a name. An untitled one file does not tell us whose file or what that file is. So our naming convention is always your initials underscore whatever it is. So in this case, we're going to do my initials underscore ornament. Then we want to make our page size 6 inches wide by 6 inches high. And click OK. Now we have a blank document. In order to start our ornament, we're going to come over to our toolbar on the left-hand side of the screen and pick the ellipse tool. And we'll come out here and just click and drag an ellipse on the screen. Now we will resize this object to be 4 inches by 4 inches. So I always like to go back to my pick tool, and then I will come up to my object size in my menu up at the top of the screen, and I will make this a 4 by 4 inch circle. When I hit enter, you'll see my circle will become 4 inch perfect circle. I always like to draw in the center of the page for a lot of different reasons, but it helps me center images on objects. So in order to draw in the center of the page with my circle selected, I will hit letter P on my keyboard and that will center it to my page. The next thing we need to do is bring in an image. I've pre-selected 4 images for you, all of which trace quite well in CorelDRAW. So we'll go under File and Import, and then you will need to navigate to the High School Student Share Drive, Langdon Industrial Tech folder, and then the Ornaments images. So in this case, I'm just going to go ahead and pick, I'll pick the snowflake. So once I've clicked that, just click on the page to import my snowflake. Now, if I zoom in on this object, you'll notice that this object's very pixelated. This is what we call a raster image. The Plasma Cutter and DXF files can do nothing with a raster image. So what we have to do is vectorize the image. One thing I find helps me vectorize the images, especially with something like this, is to get rid of the gray pixels that are on it. So the first thing I like to do is go under bitmaps and convert bitmap. And then I like to convert it to a black and white bitmap. Once I've done that, I'll click OK. And as I zoom in on this, you'll notice it got rid of many of the stray gray pixels that were there. But it is still a raster object. So the next thing we need to do is trace the bitmap. So with the object selected, you will see Trace Bitmap as an option on your toolbar. Go under Outline Trace. I like to start with logo or clip art and see how it comes out. If it pops up with this Power Trace Reduce Bitmap, just go ahead and let it reduce the bitmap. And it'll work here for a second. And then you'll notice that it removed the background color because I have remove background checked. And if we zoom in with the scroll ball on our object, you'll notice that now the object is no longer pixelated and we have nice, crisp, clean edges. And so once you're happy with how the object looks, because this is a preview of how it will look, and you can play with different outputs, more than likely the objects I've selected, you're not going to see a big difference in them. So I'm going to stick with clip art here since that's what I've got. And I'll go ahead and click OK. Now you need to click away and deselect everything and then click on your object and click and drag it away to make sure your old image is not in behind. If you still have your old rasterized image in behind, you need to delete it. Now we can click and drag on the handles to resize our snowflake and get it about the size we want it. Once we have it close to the size we think we want it, if we hit letter P on our keyboard, it will center it. And you can continue to resize and hit the letter P until you're happy with the size of whatever object you've chosen to put on your ornament. Now we'll come over to our color palette on the side with our snowflake selected, and we're going to left click our no fill with the X through it, that's no fill. So we'll left click that and you'll notice the center fill goes away. And then we'll come down and we'll right click on red. And that will leave us with just the outline that we're concerned with cutting. Now if you look in the bottom of your screen, you'll see this is a half point outline currently. So I like to double click on that red square and change this over to a hairline. And click OK. I don't know if that really makes a difference. That's just a habit I'm in because of the laser engraver over in the Fab Lab. Now the last thing I like to do is add a little hat to the ornament to make it look a little bit more like a real ornament. So I'll use the rectangle tool to click and drag a rectangle. And I'll make that rectangle, I always like 1 inch by 0.5 inches high. Then we'll grab our pick tool and we'll pick our rectangle. Now we'll just hit letter P on the keyboard and that will center it on the page. That's not really where I want that rectangle. I want to raise it up. So if I click and drag on here, you'll notice when I click and drag I can move it in both the left and right and up and down directions. However, if I hold the shift key on my keyboard, you'll notice now I can only move it up and down or left and right. So we'll move it up and we'll bring it up and get it to where we like the way it looks. And I'm happy with that. Now I will click on my rectangle and hold the shift key and click on my circle. You'll notice at the middle of the bottom of my screen it says I have two objects selected. I've selected my circle and my rectangle. My toolbar just changed and gave me some tools that I can use to manipulate those two objects together. The very first of which is called weld. And when we weld this, it will combine these into one single outline and one single object. So we'll go ahead and click weld. And you'll notice it got rid of the lines here in the center because we don't want to cut across there or we would lose our hat. And you also notice in the center of my screen it now says only one curve is selected. Once you've done that, your object is complete. It is ready to be cut. And so all we have to do is export the file to cut. So we go under the File menu, Export. And the type of file we need is a DXF. So we'll select DXF from the Save As type. And then you will need to, again, navigate to the High School Student Share Drive, Langdon Industrial Tech folder. And then inside that is a folder called Ornaments DXF. So click on that. And then make sure you save your file as your initials _ ornament and hit export. Mine's going to ask me to replace the file. You should not replace files unless you're replacing your own. And then we need to select the type. And so I've found that AutoCAD 2000 works fairly well with this new machine, so we'll select that and we'll leave all the other settings the same. Click OK, and your file is now ready to be uploaded to the plasma cutter to be cut. If you have any questions, see me or rewind the video. Thanks for watching.